The Biden administration is preparing for the possibility of evacuating hundreds of thousands of American citizens from West Asia. Now, according to officials who are familiar with U.S. government's contingency planning, if the bloodshed in Gaza cannot be contained, then thousands of American citizens will require evacuation from the region. Now, the officials speaking on condition of anonymity have said that Americans living in Israel and neighboring Lebanon are of particular concern, though they've stressed that an evacuation of that magnitude is considered a worst-case scenario and that other outcomes are seen as more likely. According to the State Department estimates, there are an estimated 600,000 American citizens in the state of Israel, and another 86,000 are said to be in Lebanon. Now, the specter of such an operation comes as Israeli forces aided by U.S. weapons and military advisors are preparing for what is widely expected to be a dangerous ground offensive against Hamas. But till Israel launches its ground offensive, continuous Israeli airstrikes in Gaza have destroyed much of the neighborhoods there. The officials from the Hamas-run Health Ministry have said that the overall death toll in the Gaza Strip has now crossed the 5,700 mark. Bear in mind, when we talk about the death toll of the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip, it refers to the number of bodies that have been pulled out from underneath the rubble, and there are at least 1,500 bodies that the Palestinian authorities have said that they have not been able to pull out from underneath the rubble. And also, more than half of those who have been killed in this relentless campaign of bombing by the Israelis are innocent Palestinian children and women. Now, according to the United Nations, 1.4 million Gazans have been displaced, and more than 500,000 people at this moment are in United Nations shelters, living in cramped, squalid conditions under tents. According to the United Nations, more than 400,000 Palestinians are now categorized as internally displaced people. Hundreds of thousands have in fact packed into UN sheltering facilities that are very overcrowded. Israel has bombarded not only the northern part of Gaza, but also the southern part of Gaza as well, including the border crossing of Rafah over and over again. Now, Israel's military has told the Gazans to move south, otherwise they could be identified as sympathizers with Hamas if they stay put in the north. But this is where the irony is. Even in the south, there is literally no place that is safe from the relentless campaign of Israeli bombings. The many families who left Gaza, the northern part of Gaza, to south, have said that they've lost relatives during Israeli airstrikes in southern Gaza as well. Now, Israel says that it does not target civilians, but the fact of the matter is, at this moment, 5,700 Palestinian civilians have been killed in this campaign of bombing by Israel. And also, our correspondent Susan Tehrani in New York has been tracking the story as to how the United States of America is planning to try secure the release of its hostages who are at this moment in the custody of Hamas. So what is the American strategy on this? Listen in to what Susan Tehrani has to say on this matter.
The Biden administration says that it's engaged in prudent planning for worst-case scenarios where it would be required to evacuate hundreds of thousands of Americans from the Middle East region. While 600,000 Americans in Israel are a priority, Americans in Lebanon aren't safe either. Israel has already evacuated some of its citizens from its border with Lebanon. However, for the Biden administration, whose image has been shaped by the faulty withdrawal from Afghanistan, making these plans of evacuation is of utmost importance, and reporting on them and announcing them is also important, notably in an election year.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.